Morning. Morning. All right, I want to make sure everybody's awake. You have the questions?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now.
So I guess I'll just take the time to introduce myself. My name is Dwayne Baker. I recognize a few people in the room, and some people might recognize me as well. I'm one of the co-founders of Coco and Breezy Eyewear. If any of you have heard of that, and if you haven't, you should. But we're not here to talk about that. I guess for the room, I would say, how many people are knowledgeable of the metaverse? All right, good amount of people. How many people own cryptocurrency? And how many people own NFTs? We got a good crowd. So,
We could take it a little high level with them.
yeah, you want to?
It seems like a lot of people.
Yeah. So, and you guys are familiar with Web3. Is there anyone who I would say is confused about any of it or has questions? So this entire room has no questions. Because I want to make this a conversation. I don't want to sit here and talk for 30 minutes. I would prefer to be able to have some questions or at least hear from some people. Can we have the question mic on? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go backwards. I apologize. My partner here needs to introduce himself, so I have to go backwards. I apologize.
Morning, everybody. Steve Bayonne, founder of Skyton Crypto University. I launched the university about end of last year. I've been in the crypto space since 2015, so I'm definitely a seasoned investor. As we get closer to mass adoption, I felt compelled to teach people about crypto because everybody who I would first introduce it to, and all my students say it sounds like Chinese. So I started the university. I stopped day trading crypto. And now I'm just on a quest to teaching as many people about the space as possible. So outside of just crypto, we have NFTs, we have Metaverse. The industry's really growing since 2015. So we strive ourselves to, make it as easy as possible for the average person. And now we're just going into the consulting space now to show businesses how to prepare for what we believe is the future of Web3 technology. And then just to kind of segue, the internet's broken up into three components. Back in the day, we had Web 1.0, which was, we called it the World Wide Web. That was considered AOL chat, MSN. You couldn't really interact with the internet too much, and you definitely couldn't download videos or music. Fast forward to today, we're sitting in what we call Web 2.0. 2.0 would be when, big tech got involved and they control all the data, social media, streaming of videos and music. This is where we live today. Web 3 is upon us now. Web 3 is where the consumer takes back the power. So we would now, as consumers, control the data on the internet. It'd be decentralized. So this is where the fun begins, guys. And then just for proof of it, when Mark Zuckerberg changed Facebook to Meta, he totally, put aside the big ad space because they kind of know selling consumer ad is not going to be the wave of the future now, since the consumers are going to take back the power and be able to control their own data. So we fast forward to what we're here for to talk about today, which is the metaverse.
So I think as we go through the industry, we kind of, as we speak to people, most people's knowledge of the metaverse usually exists like in places like the Sandbox or in Decentraland, where you know it as a place where you can go to engage, right? But what Steve and I come from is a different side of it, where we actually build worlds themselves. So rather than you having to join Decentraland and buy land and build upon the land and then invite someone to come into Decentraland or Sandbox, Instead, you would then have your own link, your own world, your own environment, your own place where you can build what we like to consider a brick and mortar website. And in that website, you can have, or in that world, you could set up an environment that looks just like this, where people and their avatars can come in and either watch a show or watch a concert or be a part of a store. We can replicate this entire environment and invite people into this environment to sit and watch a presentation just as we're doing right now. And so we're just more interested in that side of the world because obviously, if you guys have heard of things like Minecraft and things like Sims, if I told you that you could build a store in one of those worlds, you might jump on it, but then what happens when Sims isn't popular today and no one's going to that food court anymore? Now you're pit against being stuck in that world, and then now what are you gonna do, move on to another one? Instead, you should have your own world. You should have your own environment where you can put a representative to sit in that environment from 9 to 5 and allow people to come into that store and make purchases and see your products or services and get a good description for what it is. What else? Yeah.
So the metaverse experience is a lot different from your current websites now. So like Dwayne said, you can sit someone in there. So at Skyton Crypto University, we personally use a metaverse now. So we've gone away from Zoom. All our meetings are done in the metaverse. And what I noticed about consumer engagement in the metaverse is they almost feel compelled to buy something from us because they're fully immersed and they don't want to leave without grabbing something. On top of that, I've actually sold more products to my students in the metaverse than me actually sending someone a link to say, hey, we just dropped a new ebook. So I think that personal engagement with somebody on a website live is definitely the wave of where the future is going to go. And then being dependent on Facebook, Instagram, and these guys who are moving away from the paid advertising model. Businesses have to be prepared today to take back their own data. Like Dwayne said, what happens when, people fall off of Facebook and the traffic's left Instagram to go to TikTok? We're going to constantly keep chasing these trends. And as business owners and creatives, you have to take back the data. And if you guys could understand how us as consumers are already positioning ourselves, currently today, we can get paid to search the internet. Web 3.0 allows you to get paid to listen to streaming music. So it's a trend, and you have to really keep up with where that trend is going. So the metaverse is an expansive space, and I know most people, when they think metaverse, they think gaming, and it's beyond that. Like I said, a majority of my revenue is actually created in the metaverse because my clients could feel and touch me. I can have a salesperson, dedicated there 24/7 to speak to people as they come in and out of this world. And it's fully immersive. So we can sell product. We have a teaching component in Metaverse. We set up classrooms.
And there is no need for a set of goggles either. So this is a fully browser-based experience.
And then, in the future, it's going to get more expansive where you do have goggles which would look just like regular frames. They're not going to be, like the Oculus you see now. And then, that's a total game changer. So, and then the other thing too is you get to make your space feel however you want. So if you want to be on a beach in Cabo or, in a traditional store, you have that flexibility to do that where it's just not one dimensional. Usually when you have a website, it's just flat, it's static. Yeah, you could have some things moving, but I mean, literally, we can make you sit underneath the Eiffel Tower with your product, within licensing reasons in the metaverse. But it's totally, it's huge potential. We have a question.
Question?
So my question, a lot of my past work was work on activations, on a larger scale with shows and things of that nature. How are things like that carried out in the metaverse? Like, for example, if we were to have, guest speakers, if we were to have guest performers, if we were to have experiential things. One thing that we did when we were looking at launching virtual events is that we never quite found the right software or the right, delivery system that can replicate, the in-person experience, or especially when it came to the activation that people were hands-on with.
So that's part of the things that we're actually proud of, to be able to say that the platform that we partner with is capable of really housing an event of this magnitude, to be able to have this many people running around in the space and be able to go from platform, or I should say, I'm going to call them stages, from stage to stage, or booth to booth, or we can set up screens. So I want you to, and we were going to try to give you something on screen to see, but the internet in here is just terrible, so it requires a bit of bandwidth. But I want you to just use your imagination, believe that the virtual experience looks very similar to this. And if any of you have ever played a video game, I hate comparing it to video games, but it's a gamified level of an experience that is now in place, right? So this is really the future. So if you think about how we shop now online, we're all looking at flat surfaces, and so in the future, brands will have stores where we're all walking around, and I might be next to a person who's shopping for the same product as me, and I can talk to that person about the decision I'm about to make, and they can, help me with my decision-making process. But from what Terrence mentioned, we've worked with events where thousands of people were running around and meeting each other, speaking to each other, exchanging business cards, and watching presentations on different stages that were in the world. One of the things that's important to know about places like Decentraland and the Sandbox, which again, this is something that most of you have probably heard of, they do something called mirroring, which is also considered something called sharding. So if you and I tried to get into Decentraland to go, or let's use Sandbox, because Snoop Dogg did like a concert in a Sandbox, right? But if you and I tried to go in a Sandbox together and watch that concert together as friends, we wouldn't find each other. We would more than likely be standing in front of the same stage looking at the same content, but I couldn't talk to Steve right next to me. The platform that we work with, we can do that, where you can go to the concert with your friends, 10 of your friends, 20 of your friends, and we're all huddled up in one corner, watching a show, talking to each other, and we can have breakout corners where we can speak, where no one on the other side of the room can hear us. And I don't know how else to describe it other than it's almost like real life. And that's what makes it different, or that's what I would say, that's what's different about what we're offering is in that sense where we can build an environment to house thousands of people to run around at one time to enjoy what would be an hour or 2 hour of an event, concert, trade show, right? I'm gonna say trade show again, Terrence. Maybe we can make that happen. But the point is that it's able to be done because we've done it in concert environments, speaking engagement environments, and so I just know what it's capable of. So we have this QR code on the screen that anyone, if you scan it, it'll take you to a page where you can put in your name and email address for us to, if you would like to have any type of consultation with us regarding this information after this talk, because I know this conversation can go on for a long time.
We also do have a sample of Coco Breezy's temporary Metaverse page on that landing page also. So you'll be able to see and how it interacts. The other thing too, Terrence, that's a great question. We've built out a sound stage in ours where we have a DJ booth. So we're able to live stream a DJ from anywhere in the world directly on the screen. The great part about the technology and the company that we've partnered with is it's fully immersive. So if Dwayne and I are having a conversation here, you can't really hear it. So it'd be just like real life, right? And the same way I have this microphone, you can take over a microphone to speak to the entire room. You could put everybody on mute. If we have a main sound stage, we can invite everybody to come to the main sound stage. We can physically bring people to the sound stage. We can physically remove people from the setting if they're not within, the rules.
Code of conduct.
It's an extraordinary piece of technology, and a lot of artists and celebrities are really gearing to that space because of safety and security, right? So you could actually be immersed with people without having to be fully immersed with people.
No police, no ambulatory services, all of the things that come with creating an event.
Travel, just the overhead that it costs to put on a magnitude of a show like this, like you would cut back tremendously.
Or you have a parallel
Correct.
show, right? So it's not even about getting rid of the live event. Some we've done events where there's a live event and then there's a parallel world to it for all of the people that couldn't make it. How many people can't come to Vision Expo, but would love to be able to walk up and down the aisles and visit a booth and be able to speak to a representative and see the products? It can be done exactly the same in the metaverse.
So the try and wear is big technology now. So that's all linked to your space. So people can actually click on a product, be immersed in it, be able to try it on, see how it looks. It's an extraordinary piece of technology. And you see it now. Fortune 500 companies, high-end designers, banks, everybody's lining up in these metaverse spaces. The issue is they're not creating their own space, and they're at the mercy of, Sandbox or Decentraland, which is a totally different environment that may not be conducive to your brand at the end of the day. And I feel like that's going to be the biggest downfall to a lot of these companies, spending hundreds of thousands just to be in a circus, I call it, at the end of the day. If they want to be positioned seriously, you're going to have to, because there's a time now where we didn't need a web page anymore, right? It's like, what's your Facebook handle? What's your Instagram handle? But if these guys aren't in the position of controlling data anymore, where are the people going? So at Skyton Crypto University, we teach brands how to position themselves to know how, new age consumers are going to think. And, I tell my students all the time, if you're not getting paid for every keystroke in the next year or two, then you're just a customer. At that point, you're stuck in the same, matrix that we're in now. Facebook now puts us on restrictions for teaching financial literacy. Instagram is doing the same thing. So you're noticing brands now, you can't really do what you want in these environments. It's everybody's sensitive to the times. If you say the wrong thing, you're off. So we're going to get back to those times of, and you get into the NFT realm now where it is all just private membership at the end of the day. We're creating spaces for people who want to engage with us, not in an environment where there's many people. And if I say left, he says right. It's just too much dysfunction in something that's created for everyone. And not saying that they're not great spaces. They do have great qualities. I'm just saying that we're moving past that now where everyone's looking for their tribe at this point. And you have to be positioned correctly because the tribe is coming smarter, right? Our students understand that if it's free, we are the consumer, right? I mean, if it's free, we are the product. And we teach our students not to be the product moving forward because there's so much profit sharing models, right? These new guys that are creating this technology aren't big tech guys. They're just people that feel like everyone should own their own and everybody should have a piece of the pie. It's an exciting time now. And again, I was introduced to crypto back in 2015. And when I heard decentralized and owning your own as a serial entrepreneur for over 25 years, I just knew that it was going to be the space. Now, regulations are going to transform and, clearly big tech is going to be involved. But if you're positioned correctly, again, there is so much engagement that you can have one-on-one with your clients that you've lost. At this point, if Instagram shuts me down, I have no way of communicating. So we've been moving to Discord, we've been moving to Telegram, and those are decentralized models at the end of the day. They don't really care what you say or do, which is what it should be as an entrepreneur at the end of the day, within reason.
Mike. She's gonna hand you a microphone.
What's your take on common domains or IPFS domains? Since our industry is being introduced to it, would it be better to go to regular domains, let's say GoDaddy, et cetera, or to IPFS domains, which, currently you cannot search on the common web servers versus, let's say, a .nft domain, .crypto domain? That's my question. What's your take on it?
So the landscape of the domain. So I personally own maybe 40 to 50 domains from Unstoppable Domain, .nfts, and that was really just for positioning, right? And we just see it as it's another way of me creating an avenue of revenue, right? Because the search engines of the future are going to be decentralized, it's going to change, but the .coms aren't going to go away. I don't think it matters what handle you have at the end of the day, because everything is just a click through, depending on, because we still have to bring your clients over from an old platform to a new. So it's still in the air. It's still a little too early, but I wouldn't stress too much about the handle just yet. The platforms will be worked out. I think Google's still going to be a behemoth, but you're going to see a lot of decentralized ones, similar to, like when you go to TikTok now, when you start to move to newer avenues, the advertising cost gets a little bit lower. So we just have to follow closely and see who's going to be the search engine of the future. And then just to kind of give you an example, I'm involved in some search engine products where I actually own keywords. So I could own optical industry, optical eyewear, and anytime someone searches, I create a revenue stream for that in the form of passive income. So today's model, Google owns the server. Google owns that. I have to pay Google for that keyword. Tomorrow's model, which is here on us now, your brand could actually own that keyword and make revenue off of, Lazonica, or if they search Coco and Breezy, they would have full ownership in that particular keyword and technically own the server at the end of the day. And that's the beauty of this industry now.
I have a question back here. Hi.
Hello.
So right now, from what I understand, you have all of these different entities building their own platforms and sort of vying for the users, the consumers' attention to come in and experience their version of the metaverse. Is there a future where they're all combined so the user, the consumer, can move seamlessly between these things instead of being sort of taken out and then going back into another one? And if so, and I suppose even if not, what does the sort of vying for the growing user base and the consumer look like to get people into their version, their platform of the universe?
So if you look at what the platform that we build worlds on, the barrier of entry is really low. So it is very comparable to starting a Zoom conversation. It's a click, check your mic, check your camera, you're in. Decentraland, if you don't know about cryptocurrency, good luck. Sandbox, if you're not familiar, good luck. What we build is a very, very, very easy experience to deal with. So what's important is that you consider it to be just like your existing website. You're already promoting that. You're already used to sending your followers to it. Instead, they would land in this new environment where they're just immersed, and now they have a different level of an experience for their shopping. Or if you're a person who has a live event, then you might send out a link, and instead of sending out Zoom, now you're sending something where it's a ticketed click, and I've got to maybe buy an NFT in order to get in, and then now I'm seeing screens that are showing what's happening in the live. And then there's also avatars running around. And again, this was all through just a simple click, check the camera, check the microphone, and we're in. And I mean, we can set parameters in terms of like what we want to ask the user before they come in, like name, email, age. Those are all, that's data points that you can choose on. But in terms of entry, it's easy. So in terms of moving from world to world, yes, if another world is built on the same platform and we have in a lot of instances where, I'll give you an example. In the world, you have a wallet, and you can connect your wallet. So you can connect MetaMask if everyone's familiar with MetaMask or heard of it, and if you haven't, it's a browser-based wallet. So you can connect your wallet and you can connect it to the world. For all of the worlds that are built on the same platform, which we have quite a few and we're getting a lot more, but for all of the worlds that continue to be built on the platform, your wallet transfers across and your information transfers across, and you'll be able to, it's almost like, I don't want to compare it to Facebook, but if as you're a part of Facebook, obviously people can see the information as it travels across. And the idea is that in the future, yes, you would be able to carry your information across from platform to platform. That is what is being worked on, so that there is no sense of being stuck in one world with all your assets. You want to be able to kind of take all of your identity and data, like Steve was mentioning, in terms of owning your data and being able to walk with that data from place to place, at least from a digital standpoint.
I mean, and to touch on your question, what we're seeing now is, we call it FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? So everyone's just throwing money and you're hoping it's going to stick at the end of the day. I don't care for Sandbox. I don't care for Decentraland, and I'm just not into the gaming and the theatrics at this point in my life. So yes, there is a mad dash for someone to create that one metaverse world. Whether it be Mark Zuckerberg, but I don't think one world and one situation is going to exist, because then it puts us right back to where we're at today, right? Big tech running, big tech controlling. I think to keep it real simple, we're just going back to the days of representing our brands for what they stand for, and not really mixing with, someone else's brand and what they think it stands for. So we're just going back to, here's my website and not my Instagram handle. Whether the worlds connect at one point, I mean, that'd be great to see. And I think the company that can create that, you're talking about a whole different economy today. And then just to kind of give you an example of what it can look like when a consumer can take back its data. So now if I wanted to go get an eye exam, I can actually get my results, load them to a blockchain, which is where information is housed. If I move from, no matter what optometrist or whoever is going to make my glasses, I can give them permission to access my info. So all my personal data be on there, right? So whether I move to California, New York, Texas, it doesn't matter. It's going to follow me. I give you permission to cut my lenses at the end of the day. And that's the beauty of blockchain technology. So you have to zero in on the people who are actually holding their data, right? Because there's going to be a ton of people who are going to miss this train, and they'll figure it out a few years back. But the savvy consumers, if you can pinpoint those guys, you'll be in a great position to capitalize.
There's time for one more question.
All right.
Right over here.
You kind of just touched on it, but don't you see it? I feel like it's an opposite, the Metaverse versus Decentraland. Like they have, competing goals. I mean, will we still trust Mark Zuckerberg to not sell our data? And are we concerned about security in the future? And security going to be better on a decentralized platform versus an organized platform like Metaverse?
I mean, it's a stacked question, and we could be here all day with it. My personal take, no, you can't trust him, right? Because we're going into artificial intelligence, augmented reality. When you think of one guy, and when I say one guy, meaning they're not representing us as a whole at the end of the day. So when you position your brand for your clients. There's no one out-the-box situation in life. Right? If we learned anything from this pandemic, in the last couple years, is you really have time to reflect, and we were headed down the wrong path with just being too involved in one world, and it just doesn't work like that. Like we just, no two frames are the same, right? So yeah, to answer your question, no, I won't trust big tech. They had the opportunity, and I think now it's just more of a people revolution. And whoever's going to give that person the safety, the reliability, and the access to just kind of create what they want without, and these are all layer situations. So we could have one metaverse that could represent millions of people at the end of the day, because your website will live on a platform that's decentralized, meaning you can do what you want with it. But I think when you get into Decentraland, you have the kids playing, then you have adult content here, then you have adult concerts here, and I just think it's a playground for disaster at the end of the day. So I like going back to the days of just, I hate to say it, but just separation, brands just taking back their control. Because you would continue to lose your data. And on top of that, these guys are making hundreds of millions of dollars on this data that you own. So again, we position you to show you how to actually control your data and monetize it in crypto. And that's the biggest thing right there, guys. You have to monetize in cryptocurrency because there's so much money. Now, the money's not coming from big tech anymore, from advertisers. It's actually coming from the consumer. So it's you're cutting out the middleman. All right, so we're time.
All right, our time is up here. I really hope that we gave a bit of information. If you guys have any other questions or would like to speak to us after, I have to give Terrence, stand up, please. Please, no, come here. Please, come here, Terrence. I just want to introduce. Yeah, no. I just want to introduce the most influential man to me in Vision Expo, and so because I made one call about the metaverse, and next thing you know, I'm on stage because of Terrence, and so I just want to please give. He had a round of applause yesterday, and I want to give him another one. It has to be louder than that, please. Terrence, I want to thank you for putting us up or getting the opportunity. Katie was a part of it also, and so I thank everybody for coming and being part of it.
I just want to plug, I have a panel myself, my good friend Ria at 2 p.m. here, the next generation of eyewear. We'll be speaking to a number of up-and-coming designers, up-and-coming retailers, so join us for another spirited discussion, 2 p.m. here at the Bridge.
Yeah, so we can take questions off to the side. Just come up.